Hey everyone, so for today, I have listened to you all in the comment section and I'm going to talk about Atlas Earth minigames. I've gotten this request from a ton of people to talk about Atlas Earth minigames and how to beat it and make the most Atlas bucks that you can, so I thought today of all days would be a good chance to tell you how the casual player, like yourself, can make the most out of these minigames with these 7 simple tips. Tip number 1. Play through the entire event. You're going to need to devote 11 hours a week of your life in order to gain those extra few hundred Atlas bucks to make more parcels of land so you can lord over everyone and show them how much better you are. Have some water nearby in case you get thirsty, especially during those 6-hour marathon events. The only time you should allow yourself to stop is once you are as many wins above a tier than there are minutes left in the game. You should be normally good to stop then, except for Racer, you might need to get 2 or 3 more wins. Oh, a bonus here actually. It was 11 hours a week, but recently the good folks over at Atlas Reality learned they needed to program an integer for the number of hours for an event for some reason instead of a floating point or whatever. So instead of 2.5 hours, we now have 2-hour weekday events. So 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10 hours a week now. Yay! Tip number 2. Lose on purpose. Losing on purpose will allow you to watch an ad to get a mulligan. And eventually, with enough practice, you are going to get really good at timing the mulligan cursor to give you 3 Atlas bucks. And 3 Atlas bucks, minus the 2 you paid for the event, equals 1 Atlas buck profit. That means that yes, you can actually profit without ever winning a single game. Look out for other people, though, that are going to do the same thing, because one of you will eventually have to win a 0-0 game, and it will cost you 2 Atlas bucks. Sorry about that. Now for a game-specific tip. Tip number 3 for Racer, consider praying to the RNG gods before each game. Racer is basically just press 4 buttons and pray you pressed it at the right time anyway, especially if you want to make any profit past a parcel or so. He who prays the hardest probably wins. Don't listen to Tasty Wallet and cover yourself in mayonnaise. RNGesus would probably not be pleased at having to clean up the mess. If that doesn't work, and despite playing the full 2 to 6 hours, depending on the day, you aren't getting the wins that you were hoping for, or you're playing Racer and RNGesus is out having a beer because it's 5 o'clock somewhere and he's done with his shift, tip number 4, smash your phone to the ground. Take it from this pro. By the time he gets into hour 2 of a racing event, and what allowed you to beat your opponent 2 minutes ago now leaves you in his dust. Smashing your phone into a million pieces on the hard floor will increase the performance of your $1,600 super duper iPhone 15 Pro Max by 4.1x. All of a sudden, your phone will realize what it should do and command the Russet Potato Atlas Earth servers to send them information faster than your opponent, allowing less propagation delay, allowing you a chance to win more games or something like that. I mean, at least it sounded cool in my head anyway. Now, if dropping your phone off the 3rd floor of your apartment complex doesn't work, you can try tip number 5, find another state to play in, especially if you live in Georgia or North Carolina. If you play in the Peach or the Tar Heel state, you have to either be a masochist or... No, you're definitely a masochist. I suggest seeing a therapist before playing any Atlas Earth minigames in these 2 states. Even placing top 25, your profits look horrible compared to others because you barely finished top 10 in the state. I strongly recommend traveling to another state before each minigame, and then traveling back when the event is done. Which states are best can change, but some of the recommended ones right now should involve states where finishing top 500 would be enough to allow you to win the state. And winning the state will result in enough of an Atlas Bug winning gap to make up for not being able to finish top 25, because one of the Atlas Earth pros just sniped that last fish from you before you even had a chance to look at it. As of the time of this recording, states where a top 500 player can win are sparsely populated states like Idaho, North Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Hawaii, the Northern Mariana Islands, and Guam. I highly recommend the last 2. So go on any website, I highly recommend Atlas Travel here, and look up a town somewhere in the state that you want to be in. So we're going to wait for this thing to load here. We're going to go where to, and I'm going to type down, I don't know, let's just say somewhere in Idaho. Here we go, Meridian, Idaho. That sounds good. 1 room, 1 guest. Save that. I'm going to check in for the next event, which is April the 2nd. And we're going to check out April the 3rd. All right, let's search. Now, if it is the winter and you're planning to go someplace cold, like going to Idaho or the Dakotas, Montana, or Canada, you might need to call in sick from work in order to make this happen, and probably call in sick the next day too. I will say, have one backup state in mind for winters that are still warm, and one backup state for summers to keep cool. Summers are easy as you get North Dakota and Idaho and South Dakota. I mean, nobody lives in South Dakota except maybe Stealth G605, and he doesn't have to play minigames. He's sitting on a boatload of cash from the 34 bajillion parcels he bought. Minigames are for the poor people like you and me who race, fish, golf, and try to tread water after our warships sink for the entertainment of the whales. Now, if this seems too expensive because spending $20,000 on virtual green grass that you can't touch is fine, but a $400 plane ticket to Cheyenne, Wyoming is too expensive, tip number 6, you can always spoof. To do this, you'll need the software BlueStacks. And if you don't know what that is, go way back to my original videos when spoofing was still all cool with Atlas Earth, and that'll show you what that is. Set up your Atlas Earth account there. Now there's a location option where you can change your location to whatever you like. And before you know it, you'll get a nice healthy amount of Atlas bucks, finishing second in the state of Guam, while still failing to make the top 500 overall. Easy peasy, and there'll be no problems whatsoever. Absolutely no problems whatsoever. And if all else fails, tip number 7, just play something else. All the minigames are giant time sinks anyway, and if you're lucky, Atlas Earth will put out yet another update to screw everything up. Go play a real game like Candyland or something. I mean, the Racer minigame is basically a simplified version of Candyland anyway, might as well go play the real thing.